Hi, everyone. I am signing in here from my first pit stop on the way to my conference this week. I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Um, I serve as the vice president of the Northeast Regional Honors Council, and every spring we put on a conference. And this coming spring, in April, our conference is here in Harrisburg. So the first part of my trip this week is to do a site visit here at the hotel conference and make sure that everything is set up for the way that we want to plan the conference. And then I'll be here tomorrow doing the site visit. And then from there, I'll head on off to Chicago for the National Collegiate Honors Council conference on strategic planning. So I just wanted to check in and say hi and go over the things that you should be doing this week. So I'm going to share my screen so we can look at our Plato page together. And you'll find that I've reorganized some things. I hope you're reading my emails and the page announcements. I've sent two things for you to read since I saw you last. There was an announcement posted on Friday that also came through as an email about some changes that I'm making to our class schedule. And then also an email I sent yesterday that is also posted as an announcement with some feedback specifically on chapter 4. So this week in Plato, if you go to week 3, you'll find all the details you need to know what you need to do to stay on track. So this week while I'm gone, there are no required class meetings. I did check in with Lead Scholars Leadership, and it seems like the PCs are not available to start and stop a movie for us. And that's fine because actually taking into account some of your feedback, I decided that this week would be better if we focus just on one chapter instead of two. So in week 3, we'll just be focusing on a single chapter. That's chapter 6 on gross domestic product. Some of you still need to get caught up on chapter 4. That was what my most recent email and announcement post was about. I've extended all the deadlines on chapter 4 till Wednesday of this week. So if you still need to get in lecture notes or the quiz, please focus on that first in the first half of this week. Since I've extended those deadlines, it will require that you watch those video lectures. You should be watching the video lectures anyway, but because this past week in week 2, we really prioritized the debate, which was so much fun. And I feel like we all learned a little bit more about each other, and it was really good for our classroom community. So I don't regret that at all, but it did mean that we spent a little less time on the problem solving. So please do yourselves a favor and watch those video lectures so you can complete the lecture notes and the quiz for chapter 4. Once you're ready to move on to chapter 6, there are a couple things you're going to do this week. So no in-class meetings, but you still have the online assignments that we have every week. So that means there's 2 video lectures for you to watch. You should be submitting lecture notes and taking a quiz, all on chapter 6. Chapter 6 is due Friday. So you have the whole week to get caught up on chapter 4 and finish chapter 6. In lieu of the movie, and because we won't be doing our normal classroom activities and group work, I've given you a small project to work on. And this is based on the feedback you gave me in your survey. A lot of you, like several of you, said that you have been really enjoying the fact that you get to share your own opinions and do your own research and talk about your own lived experiences. And I really do think that that brings a great deal of depth to our class. We can all learn from one another when we share who we are and what we've lived through and how that informs the way we walk through the world. So for chapter 6, you're going to do our normal assignments, video lectures, lecture notes, and quiz, and then you're going to do a small research project. So I hope that you actually find this kind of fun. This chapter, we're looking at gross domestic product, or in other words, GDP. This is the measure that is the most popular measure used for determining how well off a country or a region is. And it's also the way that we measure economic growth. And so a lot of times you'll hear in the media or on, the news, oh, well, GDP grew by 4% this year or whatever. So this week, you're going to spend some time learning what is counted in GDP, what is not counted in GDP, and how it's used to determine, how well off a society is or how well off a country is. But the thing about GDP is that most economists will agree there are a lot of shortcomings. There are a lot of things that are not taken into account or are just not counted in the way that actually reflects a society's genuine well-being. So there are other alternative measures that have been developed. And so your research project this week is going to be going into one of those other measures. So if you're in week 3, you scroll down, you'll click on this research project. And you'll see the instructions are here. So you can work independently or in a team of 2. So you can choose your own partner. That's your choice this week. And then you're going to look at one of the 4 alternative measures that I've identified here. So you're either going to choose the Human Development Index, the Genuine Product Progress Indicator, the Gross Sustainable Development Product, or the Happy Planet Index. So you're going to choose one of those 4. I do want to know which one you're choosing and whether you're working independently or in a pair. So by the end of the day on Monday, so by midnight on Monday, I've asked you to click here, which is a short survey. And it's just to tell me, hey, I'm working alone or I'm working with this person and we've chosen to research this particular index. Then you're going to use the internet, and I want you to find a minimum of 2 sources. You can find more, but everyone has to find at least 2. 2 reliable sources on the measure that you chose. So do your research, find out about it. Then I want you to create a slide presentation. So you can do this in Google Slides, you can do this in PowerPoint, or you can do this in whatever the Mac version of presentation is. I don't remember the name of it in this moment, but your choice, just slides, and you're going to follow an exact template. So there's no guessing as to what you're supposed to put in the slides. It's going to be exactly 5 slides. The first slide is a title slide. Put the name of the measure that you're researching, your names, and the title of this class. On the second slide, I want you to list or describe the similarities of the measure you're researching to gross domestic product. What are the things that overlap? How are they similar? On slide 3, you're going to outline or describe the differences. So the measure that you've chosen versus GDP, how are they different? And then on slide 4, this is where I'm interested in your opinion. And this is completely opinion-based. This is based on your research. Which of these 2 measures do you think is better at measuring what it says it measures? Economic well-being, the societal wealth, how happy we are, these things. Which one is better? There's no right or wrong answer here, but I do want you to back up your opinion. So you have to provide reasoning for why you're saying that one is better than the other. And then your slide 5 is your citations. So I just need to know what your sources were that you used to inform your opinion. Remember, you need a minimum of 2 sources. I have asked that you use MLA format. There's a link here to learn how to put it in a specific format. But this is just so that we can tell, where your information is coming from. So 5 slides, but really it's only 3 slides of content plus a title slide and a citation slide. Here's my advice for you. Reputable resources. What does that mean? It means that your source is informational, not just opinion-based, and that it comes from a recognizable organization. My second piece of advice is not to overcrowd your slides with words. I'd rather your slides have just bullet points or imagery or, a combination of the 2. Really, I want most of the information to be just what you tell us, what you say out loud. I want you to consider your audience. So your audience are your classmates, your peers, and me. So you can assume common knowledge about GDP. We should all be watching the video lectures on GDP and know what GDP is and how it's measured. You don't need to tell us that in your slides, but don't assume any knowledge of the alternative measure that you're researching. Pretend, or exactly, maybe it is true, that we know nothing about it, okay? So don't assume any knowledge about that measure. Second, make your slides attractive. Use themes, fonts, colors, images to make it appealing for your audience. But do remember that your audience may be viewing from the back of the room. So be careful about the size of your font and also like the color contrast between background and font. You want it to be readable from the back of the room. And then finally, like if you have questions that come up, you're not sure if you're going in the right direction, if you're doing it right, honestly, there are no such thing as bad questions in this class. I hope you feel like you can ask any question. All questions are good questions. You can just email me and I will get right back to you about that. So when in doubt, just reach out. I didn't mean to rhyme there, but I did. So I hope that you have a little bit of fun with this. During class, we use our time to work in groups and to do work that's really hands-on and trying to figure out like what this stuff means. And so I hope that this small project gives you an opportunity to really like dive into what is GDP, what are the positives of GDP, the negatives of GDP, the ways that what are we measuring and what's left out. And then I want to know what you think about it. I think that that's an important part of this course. So you're going to submit your slides here. Your slides are due by noon on Monday. And that's because next Monday, when I see you, we're going to spend the entire class period talking about this. And I'm going to invite people to present their slides to the class and tell us about your opinion. What did you find out? What did you research? What were your sources? What do you think about this? So it's fairly informal. I don't want you to think about this as like a formal presentation. It's nothing to be scared about. This is more just like, let's gather information. We're all going to have different sources we use and different ways that we present that information. And let's just learn from one another. That's the point of this activity. So that's what takes place of the class time this week. So you got 3 things to focus on. If you're not done with chapter 4, you're going to finish up chapter 4. Video lectures, lecture notes, and quiz. Then you're going to start chapter 6. 2 video lectures, lecture notes, and quiz. This is just like every other week. I've reduced the amount of work this week from 2 chapters down to 1, so you can really focus and spend your time on this activity, this small research project on alternative measures of economic well-being. So we'll pick up on Monday next week, check in on GDP, and then we'll move on to chapter 7, which is about unemployment. So you don't have to worry about that now. Just focus on chapter 4 and getting chapter 4 wrapped up and moving on to chapter 6 this week. I am here. I am checking in with you in real time. So although I am not physically seeing you every afternoon, I am not really absent. I will be checking in on Plato, seeing when those assignments come in and grading them as they come in, or evaluating them. I will be checking with the Inquisitive and making extensions as needed. If you don't have access to something or you need help with something, you can reach out to me. Like I said, my emails go directly to my phone, and I'll answer in the same day. So I hope that you find that this week reduces your stress a little bit. You find a little bit of a reprieve and a break and have some fun with it. Again, your choice, working independently or with a partner. But I hope that this week feels like a little bit less work, and that we're going to have an opportunity to check back in and share what we learned. So that's what it's all about. I'm going to be pretty busy tomorrow, but I will be checking Plato tomorrow night, and I'll probably make another video on Tuesday or Wednesday just so that, I'm here on the other side of the internet, and that I still care about you, and I still am hoping that you're doing well, and I'm going to miss our time together, but I really do feel that this will be a good way for you to find a little bit of balance in your week 3 as things start to ramp up and we're halfway through this program. So, all right. I will talk to you via email if you need me. I'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.